All right, Arizona Cardinal fans, it's time for another episode of the Red Rain Podcast. This is episode 219 and the official beginning of our 6th regular season together. So please welcome in your host, the one, the only, Walter Mitchell.
We're back. Hey, Little Rock, Ledbetter, looking more and more like Gardner Minshew every day. It's really stunning. There he goes. There he goes. And then we have Suero Sam with us. He's hid away in a mountainside bunker, digging in on preseason football. He has lots to say about the game as our color commentator, as will Little Rock. So let's rip it. We're going right to peruse the impressive offensive grades that the Cardinals put together, playing mostly with third teamers, but really sticking it and playing well. And all half long. I mean, wait till you see the combined quarterback stats for the Cardinals. I've never seen anything like it. So, we could start there. The defensive grades, very disappointing. Defensive performance overall, other than Billings showing up early and Austin Keys having, I thought, an MVP type game. It was really tough to watch. Leota, who they have been pretty high on, did not impress. Williams was really overpowered inside, and I think hurt his roster chances. When we need help at defensive end, at 34 defensive end, Billings was the early star, and it was great to see from him. We're going to need him. Carter played well, 4 plays for the injury. I'm not sure about the extent of his injury, but they didn't put him on IR, so that's a good sign. We'll find out more about him later. Ojulari struggled. He did get a couple pressures, but by and large, he was not a factor. Our pass rush was not a factor. Keys was really stepped up. Owen Papo played great. I thought Clark, aside from the PI interference call, played pretty well. I'm just shocked that he got tangled up on that play. Really wasn't necessary. I'm noticing a pattern with Cardinals defensive backs, particularly corners. They never look back for the football. It continues to be a huge problem. If he looked back for the football on that play, he might have even intercepted it. Taylor Demerson was really good early on, didn't play much. So was Crawford. Our safety group looks like it could be a strength. And I thought King made a nice play over the middle as in a one pass breakup, and Newsome made the play of the game on defense when he punched out the fumble. Sam, what's your take on the defensive players who played in the first half?
I thought Isaiah Oliver was a standout.
Yeah.
Cameron Robertson, Carson Beck. I was shocked the way Kedon Clark played. And it's interesting in that game where only 14, 15, 16 players and then practice squad players are going to probably make the team. So you got 15 or so players going to make this team, and Kedon Clark is on the field. I don't know if Kedon Clark's going to make this football team, and his play didn't help. Elijah Cup, decent grade, but he was on the game-losing drive too. So his coverage broke down. Collinsworth sure likes Haynes King, doesn't he? He was gushing about him all night. But I thought Austin Key stood out, led all defenders, 11 tackles.
Yep.
They have to find a spot for this kid.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's injured. was not in practice yesterday.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and they signed Owen Papo's backup in 2022 at Auburn. Eugene Asante. He's smallish but fast. He runs a 4.48 and played in the UFL. And then he succeeded Owen in 23 and 24 at Auburn and had some good years there. So hopefully, they didn't put Keys on IR either. They put two people, Blunt and Yamoa, the tight end, on season-ending IR. Poor Joey Blunt. I mean, the guy is an absolute baller, and was our captain on special teams. And unfortunately, this will be his second year in a row on the IR.
Well, and if we lose Keys, that's another really good special teams player.
Yeah. He is really good as well. And, and I thought Keys was, for the first time I've seen a linebacker covering a tight end pretty well.
Did a good job.
And I don't know why they stopped doing it. Because late in the game, it was wide open tight end shit again. And really hurt up the right sideline. I don't even remember the play. It was like 20-something yards. Haynes King stole this football game.
He sure did.
All the talk in the first half was Carson Beck. He had no defensive help, so it's 17-17. And then Haynes King came in, and he took this game away. And the Cardinals showed once again the path of least resistance. And people were saying after the game, it's only a preseason game with backups. No, this is how our first team is coached to play. And, and it galls me to no end that they're keeping guys out of this game that haven't earned shit in my mind. And based on the pathetic performances in tackling last year, to keep guys like Will Johnson, who's been getting toasted in practice every day, Max Milton, who's up and down every day and hasn't shown yet he's going to tackle people, and Denzel Burke, who was the most, embarrassing tackler on the team last year. You're giving these guys freebies? I mean, it's just disgusting to me. I mean, that first team defense belongs on the football field to get them whipped into shape. The only one I'd give, an exemption to is Buddha, because we know what Buddha's going to do. And based on his years of experience in Pro Bowls. But everybody else, and Buddha still, everyone's saying he's washed up and he had a down year. How about 120 tackles again? So, I mean, it's just awful that fans, it's amazing. These are the same fans who put Kyler Murray on a pedestal and are quick to call out Buddha Baker. And it just shows, and I'm sorry, I got to rant this out early and get on with it. It just shows all they do in Arizona with fans is talk about offense. It's all they do. It's like 9 out of 10 stories a day from the Arizona media. Rarely a single reference to anything defensively. It's like complete and utter ignorance to ignore that side of the ball. And all they want to do in the draft, offense, when our defense was worst in the league. And this mindset, people are saying, oh, well, next year, if Carson Beck is the answer, we can, get one of the top receivers. What the frick? I mean, it's just unbelievable. And then they'll say, we'll be so elite. Elite on what? One side of the ball where the defense gives up game-winning touchdowns every time? It's just got to stop. And we've got to put pressure on the Arizona media. We have to put pressure on the coaches to get this right. And you saw me 2 weeks ago champion for let's play all of these games in man coverage with clear assignments. So we're not giving up these wide open plays to tight ends and running backs. Kyle, while we have it, can you bring up those 2 plays I sent us from practice yesterday in the red-white scrimmage? This is the epitome of how easy it is for other quarterbacks and tight ends and running backs to crush the Cardinals defense every time because they pay no attention to them. Although in this game, they did put Keys on a tight end, and I saw twice he was neck and neck with him. That I can live with. But wide open tight ends has been the bane of the Cardinals. I mean, we documented this on Red Rain a couple of weeks ago, where we documented the second half of the Rams game in Week 18, where we took the lead. Jacoby threw 2 touchdown passes. We had the lead. And what happens the rest of the game? 3 wide open tight ends for touchdowns without any resistance whatsoever. So here's play 1. Go ahead, Kyle. Hit it. This you can get every time, practically. There's Trey McBride, but there's no one near him. Look at him. Is there any defender in the frame? No. Now hit the second one. So now we have running backs. All you have to do is flare a running back out, and it's like 20 yards because nobody's covering. There is not a defender in the screen. Kyle, when you see that, what do you think?
So if we go back to the start here, it's hard because it cuts out right here, but I'm guessing there's like a crossing route where Michael Wilson is running, and I'm guessing Jeremiah Love. And because it's in a zone, they're supposed to kind of pass it off at that point, but no one goes with him, I'm guessing, is what's happening right there. But every NFL team, that's a basic play that's going to be in everyone's playbook. I mean, everyone runs crossing routes at this point. Well, I shouldn't say everyone. 25 out of the teams run running backs out of the backfield into passing formations and things of those sorts. So it's a bread and butter play. And, when we talked about the third and give up offense, I think it was 2 years ago, a little bit last year, but last year was different. But 2 years ago, I remember that was the famous Vikings game that you reference all the time, Walter. But it was like the Cardinals basically from 20-yard line to 20-yard line were basically giving up the field for the most part. Teams could move as much as they wanted up and down the field. And then eventually they would try and play a little bit of press once you got down to the goal line and there was less coverage there. A play like this, you're not even playing press once you get down to the goal line. And it's just you just run a crossing route, confuse the defenders because they've passed each other. Either Wilson would be open on that play or Love would be open on that play. And that's pretty bread and butter for, like I said, like 75-80% of your NFL offenses.
Yeah, and if you play man-to-man, you got head up. You got assignments. These zones, leaving wide open areas of the field wide open. I mean, any quarterback can feast off those. And that's why we see even second-string quarterbacks light it up against the Cardinals. They give them too many easy outs. It's so easy.
Well, also, if you're going to run that formation, you've got to have great pass rush. You can't just let the quarterback sit back there 5-6 seconds in the pocket because somebody's going to be able to get open. It's so difficult to cover in the NFL.
True, but on both of those plays, the ball was out in 1.5 seconds.
Oh, yeah, on this one, for sure.
Nobody's covering.
This one, the Jeremiah Love one, but he's only throwing it 4 yards down the field, which is crazy that you have no coverage 4 yards down the field.
Right. So, I just wanted to show this and get this out early is that, don't talk about becoming a great team until you fix this defense. because the pressure you're putting on the offense to like score 40 something points a game to try to win. I mean, the Cardinals played almost flawless offense in this game to the tune of 30 points. And the quarterbacks were, I mean, the combined quarterback totals are almost elite. I mean, Slovis was 9 out of 10. He had 145.1 rating. I mean, Beck had a 124 rating or something. Huge. But we play a game like that on offense, and we give up 33 points as a response. And it's typical of the way things have gone ever since Jonathan Gannon was hired. And I'll even go back to the last few years of Vance Joseph. I mean, when is it ever going to be that our defense will do its job consistently? And it's got to be with a better plan than this. It's got to be, if we're going to go down, let's go down swinging with people covering people and doing everything they possibly can to defend every level of the football field. So there's my defensive rant. I think we can move on from that. Let's go to the offense, and the good news is, and let's key in on this offensive line. I mean, look at the line. Williams. Surprised me they played him at left tackle. He's been playing right tackle. But I don't know why, but I know that they're trying to groom him as swing tackle. But I think he should be in the mix for starting right tackle. I mean, that's up in the air, and this kid's playing really well, and he's playing fast. And look, at left tackle, 76.8. Wow. Connor, 69.5. At left guard, Gaines, 81.9. Had his best game as a center in the NFL so far. Besantis was a baller in this game. If you followed him, you had a fun night. He was getting the second level, and he and Gaines were like twin bulldozers moving piles in that game. And then the right tackle was Josh Fryer, who'd been playing left tackle all. It was just weird that they flip-flopped them, because Fryer had been playing left tackle with the thirds, with Williams playing the right tackle. But they decided in the game to flip-flop them. And I think it hurt Fryer, and it didn't hurt Williams, but Williams showed his versatility. So can you show Fryer's grade there?
It's not on this sheet, but it was in your Red Rain article. I'm trying to figure out.
Can you just scroll down lower?
I think it was a 53.
I'm saying you didn't. I don't think you added it on this one, but I'm looking.
I think it was a 53.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're looking it up. It was a 55.8.
Yeah, 55.8.
That's not good.
It isn't terrible, but for someone who hasn't been getting right tackle snaps, that's not too bad. The second team offense also. Did that not show up?
It's in your article. It's just not on this page. Hold on.
Right. Yeah, okay. So we got the starters. Look at Beck, 91.7. Let's talk about Beck. Sam, are you kind of adjusting your position on Carson Beck, or attitude towards Carson Beck?
I don't have a bad or negative attitude towards Carson Beck or his play. I'm kind of in a rant like you are, Walt, with respect to how he's projected, how he's covered by the media.
Right.
I thought he had a very nice game.
Yes.
He did it against the vanilla scheme run by a position coach. Their coordinator didn't even call the plays. Evero didn't call the plays.
Right.
There was no disguise, no starter pass rush, static coverage. A rookie can read pre-snap in his sleep. It's basically batting practice home run. On the same field, according to NBC, was outdueled by an undrafted rookie in Haynes King. Slovis looked pretty good.
He did.
Again, and I understand it's preseason, and that's why I don't take much from it. I don't.
Yeah.
It's Preseason to me is give these kids a chance who are on the bubble to play on a roster. If they can't get on a roster, at least they can put film out there and get a job somewhere. This is a rebuild. Vegas has them at 3.5. You got a terrible trench situation on the right side. I won't get into that. But in that world, you don't anoint a third-round rookie off one preseason half as the starter. It's not just wrong.
No.
It's harmful.
Right.
It sets an expectation the season can't meet. So when Beck takes his inevitable rookie lumps, the fans are going to turn on him. The staff, they're going to turn on the staff. They're going to turn on the plan. And the plan should be patience. It's going to be one hell of a tough year. And that's the part that should shame anybody peddling Beck as a starter. Cardinal fans have been through enough cycles of manufactured hope,
right,
to deserve at least some honest analysis. Beck flashed against nobody. It earned him more reps and a longer look, starting with Thursday's night at the Raiders. I'm looking forward to it. It earns him nothing else. Selling a fan base a week one coronation off the tape in Canton,
right,
that's malpractice.
Right.
If you want Beck to develop into something, the worst thing you can do is demand he be a starter before he's blocked, protected, and proven against a single defender, like he's going to see in against Los Angeles the first week of the season. Luke McCown said it best. The Hall of Fame game has zero correlation to whether a guy is ready to start. That's across the board.
Right.
So the adults in the room understand it. Doug Holler with The Athletic said the same thing. Jacoby Brissett is the starter, and Gardner Minshew is the backup.
Well, I think that Beck might do enough to leapfrog Minshew. But there's no question. See, at least our coaches get it. You know, this week was the first time that Carson Beck got some reps with the number 2s. He's been with the number 3s all throughout camp. So now they're bumping up a little bit to the number 2s. I mean, I think he's a far way to go to get reps with the 1s. I read a tweet today from Beck season. I really like this fan. He's really high on Carson Beck. But he was saying, I had to, chime in on this because he was saying, while Jacoby Brissett is still struggling with Marv and Gardner Minshew is throwing interceptions, Carson Beck continues to dominate practice. So I wrote back, whoa. First of all, context. Jacoby's playing with the 1s. Minshew's playing with the 2s. And Beck has been playing with the 3s. Huge difference. So let's just be fair. And then I said, the good news is that for the first time, Beck is starting to get some reps with the 2s. And I think after that performance, he earned that. But I think in a way, this does the Cardinals a disservice if they're going to hype it up so much that they think, and guys are asking the question, should Carson Beck start for the Cardinals? The answer is patently no. I mean, you didn't bring Jacoby back on $15.5 million guaranteed to not start him, and you don't want to throw away Jacoby's professional preparation and all of the reps he's had with Wilson and Marv, and and in the past with Bourne, and mostly with McBride too. I mean, McBride, he and Jacoby clicked big time in the red zone too. So there should be no controversy. I mean, at some point in this season, can we see Carson Beck to see what he's got and give him time with the 1s? He's going to need time with the 1s. He's going to need reps there. I mean, rapport with receivers don't happen overnight, but he sure has rapport going big time with Brooks, He's looked fantastic. Jalen Brooks, and with Bryson Green and with Harrison Wallace III, he looks, really in sync with those dudes. And with Reggie Virgil, who had a really fine game. Kyle, put on your best Gardner Minshew. How would you assess the Cardinals quarterback situation as it is right now?
I think at this point I would lean more towards with Sam, where it's Brissett, then Minshew, then Beck. I think Slovis, unless they make a trade, which at this point, I don't think it's going to happen, because I think the trade would have more likely been Brissett before they gave him the contract. I think Minshew's a fine backup. They signed him with an understanding he would be the backup. I think that right now Beck's probably your emergency third quarterback, and they'll keep 3 on the initial 53-man roster. I think Slovis will probably go to the practice squad or get picked up by someone else. I would imagine he probably clears waivers. I don't think any team would pick up Slovis on their initial 53. I could be wrong about that, but I would imagine Slovis goes to the practice squad. They'll keep 3 in the initial roster cut down, and then Beck probably won't be activated, or it's that emergency third quarterback situation that teams have now. So I would imagine I would lean closer towards Sam at this point and say it's probably Brissett and Minshew until the organization makes the decision that we are moving towards Carson Beck. And the reason they would make that call is they've decided they're not competing for anything. Their record's not good, and they want to see what they have in Carson Beck, most likely because Monty Ossenfort is fighting for his job at that point. And the only way for him to keep his job is for them to stay out of a top draft pick, which would make his job more appetizing to other general managers throughout the league. So right now, I would lean more towards where Sam is at, where it's probably Brissett, Minshew, Beck, and then Slovis will go to the practice squad.
Right. So let's go to those second half grades that you just picked up. This was interesting. Slovis, 92.5. Wow. I never saw that coming. But it also reinforces what Sam said about the vanilla defense we were seeing. Don't want to make total excuses for it because it was pretty. But I just want to talk about the quality of play. I love Corey Kiner. I love this kid. He runs so hard. And Hull shows me shades of Scatabo with CMC. When they signed him, I was like, oh my God, this kid's a baller. I loved him at Northwestern. Either you guys have comments on those running backs?
Well, they look great, and so did the little guy.
Yeah.
We've
run hard. Yeah.
We've got a running back. We've got an excellent running back room, and we've got a couple running backs who have underperformed, who haven't played, i.e. Trey Benson.
Right.
And we may have a couple of those kids who we can maybe trade, Benson being number 1.
Yeah. Benson doesn't seem long for this team at this point. I know he hasn't been practicing a bit, but I still feel like Benson's not long for this team at this point, especially now that you have a new coaching staff, basically a brand new running back room. Bam Knight's still there, but pretty much you've got a brand new running back room. So I don't know. I don't see Benson being long for this team.
Yeah. And I think he's probably not practicing because I think they're actively trying to trade him after coming off a knee injury. I know the knee injury is the reason he's not playing. He tore his meniscus. His meniscus should be 100% by now.
Yeah.
So I think one of the reasons we haven't seen him is because they're hitting the phones.
Right. And they don't want to.
And teams like Green Bay are desperate for a running back.
Yes. I'll make a prediction right here, right now. Bam Knight is making the 53-man roster.
He's a little guy, absolutely.
I mean, there's just no way they're going to put him out there on waivers, in my opinion. So even as deep as we are at the position. Let's go to the tight ends. Yeboah, unfortunately, was injured, and he's now on the season-ending IR, but he made the first catch of the night and tucked it in. That was good. Gears, I kind of liked. He had that reception up the sideline and did a McBride hurdle in the out of bounds. I kind of like that kid. He's from Minnesota as an undrafted free agent. He looks the part. He was sneaky fast too, of what I saw of him. And then Green had the great touchdown in the corner. He's doing really well in practice. Bryson Green. He's gonna if he clears waivers, he's gonna be on the practice squad. They really like that kid. Fehoko with a really nice touchdown on a perfectly run fade route where he stutter stepped his man so that he could seal him up and have enough room to catch the over the shoulder pass. That was really well done. And Weaver was not at his best, but we know the kind of talent that he brings and speed and stuff like that. So, Sam, what do you think of those receivers when you add in Brooks, Williams? God, I loved Williams in this game. How smooth as water that kid is, and Virgil. What do you make of these young receivers?
Well, we have a good problem. We have a lot of talent wide receiver, especially when you look at the starters. So I think the coaching staff again did the right thing by letting these kids play, keeping the supposed starters, the 41 players who they think are going to make the team, on the sideline this game. It's an extra preseason game, and these kids look great, and they had terrific chemistry with both quarterbacks. And you look at guys like Weaver and Fehoko, who've been around for a while. What are we going to do with these kids? How are they going to develop? But the coaching staff did everybody a solid and played guys who don't have a home here and played them in order to put some film on tape and give them an opportunity to get a job somewhere.
Yeah,
we're solid at running back and we're solid at wide receiver.
Yes.
I wish we were as solid on the offensive line. I really do.
I think we are. I mean, so far, look at
Not
this.
the right side. I'm sorry. Fryer played
You didn't
horrible.
like DeSantis in this game?
Wilkinson is not 31-year-old journeyman Wilkinson is not the guy to start on the right side. I'm sorry, and Fryer is not a kid who's going to do any better. When I'm pining for Beecham this time of year, tells you we got a problem.
Right. But we haven't seen Wilkinson yet in Cardinal Red, and the coaches are high on him. So we got to see what the coaches are seeing.
Yeah.
So we got to hope on that. Tristry would say he's going to struggle in pass pro, and
he struggled his whole career.
Well, he's been between guard and tackle his whole career. He's been a utility swing player, and now he got some good 17 games under his belt as a starter at right tackle. He wants to build off of that. He certainly is an asset in the running game. He's a big mauler.
And I'm nervous.
We got to find out what he looks like in this offense, which so far is very pass heavy. More pass heavy than I thought it would be. But the running game was good. It was 140 yards at 4.2 per carry. They really mixed it up well. But it's interesting in this group here, you have that young center to Canberra who had an 89 in this grade. Fantastic. So it's usually
look at Pryor's grade. Look at Pryor's grade. Jeez.
And look at the three veterans: Jacobs, Udo. It should have been an H. Udo played well at right guard and has been in practice, but this again against third stringers. And Pryor struggled. That's been a mystery to me because, I mean, his pass pro grades, you look them down the last 3 years, have been excellent. And to have a 51.9 in this game,
against
yes.
third stringers. What does that tell you? That's why I'm so nervous about the right side. And I wouldn't be that nervous if we had a solid guard there. But Adams may not play a bunch of games. And then you got a rookie, Basantis, who's looked pretty good, but he's a rookie.
Yep. Adams has looked great in practice, and we don't know what the situation is with the charges,
gun charges in Canada of all
right?
places.
Yeah, I don't. So his of course his attorney says he's completely innocent. So we've heard that before, but
well, I hope he is. He's a good kid.
Yeah. The key here could be Jaden Williams, Sam. And I think we're going to see him at right tackle probably in Vegas, because I think they are so high on him. I think he's got a shot to get some first team reps because of the way he's assimilated so well into the offense. And they say he's playing fast. And it looks, I mean, I look at him and I go, wow, he's got the body type. I highlighted him after they drafted him. I was shocked he made it all the way to the 7th round, given his talents. And, I think last year at Mississippi, blocking for Chambliss, I don't think he gave up a sack. Or maybe it was one, but he kept Chambliss really clean. And he played
Chambliss is a tough kid to tackle too. Don't forget.
He is. Indeed. Yes.
Elusive.
But he graded really well at Mississippi, and it's carrying over. So we do have some hope there in that respect. But Kyle, let's go to the back to the. Oh, let's go ahead to the 53-man roster project. Okay, second half defense. Oh, good. Culp I kind of liked, but he lacks speed. I'm not sure if he's a viable candidate to play man in this defense, if and when they're ever going to play it. Robertson, I thought, looked physical. I liked him at SMU. He's got size and bulk. He's kind of like a decent counterpart to Jordan Birch. Sherrar, solid. Walt Williams. No, it's what's his first name? Well, anyway, Williams Jr. from Mississippi had ups and downs at free safety. Brown, the outside linebacker, has been with us a couple of years on the practice squad. Didn't do much. Horsley from BC Kid. I thought he made 3 tackles that were really good. I was surprised his grade wasn't above 60. Demonic Williams held his own but didn't play great. Oliver's grade was probably lower than it should have been. And
yeah, I thought Oliver looked really good.
At times he did. I agree.
Yeah.
At times, at free safety, I think he got burned a couple times. I think he's better when he's closer to the box. And then Martin, who they just picked up, struggled. So, Kyle, you see any players there that caught your eye?
Going back to the offense, I've been a big fan of Weaver for a while. I know he doesn't really have much of a chance to make the team this year, given the receivers that they've added and the 3 that they didn't play. I guess Duvernay didn't play also, but Duvernay's kind of just a punt returner at this point. I don't think he's really going to be on the field as a receiver all that much.
Right.
So if there's basically 2 spots for receiver available, I know Weaver doesn't have a great shot, but I've been a big fan of him for years, and I know he's doing his thing on the practice squad. So I hope that it works out for him. And on the defense, I don't really think anyone gets bonus points for the second half defense because everyone had a tough time, especially on that last drive against old big boy Haynes King.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a lot there. But yeah, receivers, I know, like I said, I know Virgil and them are probably in line to get those last 2 spots, but I hope Weaver sticks around on the practice squad again and eventually gets his chance. I don't know when it's going to happen, and maybe it'll end up being with another team, but I've always been a big fan of his.
Right. So Let's go to the 53 man. Let's get this going. And I'd like your feedback on my latest version. So, yeah, I don't think there's any point in keeping 3. Particularly if Beck, I think Beck gives you more than Minshew at this point. And I listed Minshew as one of the trade candidates for somebody who needs a legit backup. I mean, put it this way: come second half of the year, are we going to see Minshew unless we're contending? But I also feel like Minshew would pass through waivers. No one's going to pick up 5.5 guaranteed, 5.1, excuse me. So it's just as well we could have him on the practice squad and not take up a roster spot. At running back, I pared it down to 3. I think James Conner should be traded to a team of his choice. Would make the most sense where he's got a better chance to play. And I think that might be in the works, and I think Benson is in the works. So, but the vast majority of the snaps are going to be given to Love and Algier. So we know that already. I think Bam Knight gives you special teams and a hard runner when you need him. Now this is interesting with tight ends. We've got McBride, Higgins, and Ryman. I include Ryman because I don't think they want to put him on the IR, season-ending IR. But someone who could sneak in there is Tegan Quatoriano, excuse me, who played for, I think, the Texans and was a favorite of the coach we hired, tight end coach we hired from the Texans. So I think that's a possibility. Although, we're probably going to keep 2 tight ends on the practice squad, but Ryman's a mystery man right now. Still, he's not out there, and that's a concern. Of those 3 groups, Kyle, how would you have it different?
I would keep Minshew as a third quarterback. I understand the rationale of why you would move on from Minshew. And we've talked before, like, as soon as they drafted Carson Beck, they immediately undermined the signing of Gardner Minshew. And it is redundant and repetitive. But at this point, I would go ahead and keep 3 quarterbacks.
Okay.
I wouldn't take from any of the other groups at this point. Maybe 4th running back with Connor. But I would add in the 3rd quarterback and probably take from somewhere else. Like probably it would be probably Wallace in the receiver group. I would probably leave open to possibly being claimed off waivers. Maybe Adams, I don't know what to do with Adams at this point, but Adams or Fryer on the offensive line, both of those are actually going to be pretty tough.
Right.
But I would keep the 3rd quarterback, and at the very least right now take from that receiver group. We'll see what the defense looks like too. But yeah, I would probably just try and protect all 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
Well, looking over your 53, I'd have little difference or no dispute over how you have them ranked. What I really concentrated on, is who's going to make the practice squad.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the names here, I got it. But who's going to be on our practice squad? And you start with Slovis. Slovis is going to make it.
Right.
Kiner should make it.
Right.
And then our 2 really good wide receivers who just need some playing time, like Weaver and Fajoko, should be on there. Bryson Green is a shot to make practice squad. And then on the offensive line, I think, and that's why I really focus on the practice squad, because I'm so disappointed with what's going on our offensive line. And we've got Christian Jones. We've got the Sen kid. We've got the swing tackle, DeMontre Jacobs.
Right.
and demonic is that
He's
his demonic Williams?
He's
So
on defensive line.
those kids need to be developed, and we need some depth on that offensive line because we've seen the injuries just decimate this football team from an offensive standpoint over the years. So that's where I really looked at who's going to be on the practice squad. And, I like on defense, we've got some kid Robertson, Sherrar. Culp kid is an interesting kid, but that's a crowded room. I don't know if he's going to even make it. I think we're going to have some pretty good players on defense that we would expect to be on the 53 are going to get dropped down to the practice squad. And then I'm sorry, I got Pryor, Udo, and Murphy Bunning. Those guys probably going to get cut unless they make a trade in the cornerback room.
Yeah. Going back up, Kyle, I approached it the same way you did, pal. So my thinking was, as well as Slovis played, I think if you lose Minshew, you still have Slovis on this practice squad, and he runs your scout team with Beck until Beck gets his chance. So, and then on the running backs, I have him keeping Kiner and Hull. Love Hull. So I think the depth would be there. And notice last 2 years, they cut Michael Carter, brought him back when was necessary. So I don't think we need 4 running backs. The problem with me with James Conner as running back 4 is that he's not going to play special teams at this point in his career, nor should he. Bam will. But then do you even activate him if you've got 3 activated running backs? And I would hate to see James Conner inactive, a healthy scratch inactive. But just trying to reason that through. And then the tight ends, I think we're going to see certainly Teagan, Quarantano on at least the practice squad. I think he might make this roster, come to think of it.
Yeah, because Ryman basically is like a fullback at this point, so they could possibly just keep a different tight end.
Well, he's a key. Mike LaFleur has said all along how high he is on Ryman being his main blocking tight end. So, and that so I think he's hoping to get Ryman back sooner or later so he can start playing. We haven't seen much 12 and 13 personnels yet, which is interesting because with the success of our receiver group, I don't know if we need a lot of 12 and 13 this year. It's trending in the right direction. And this is why I had us keeping 7 wide receivers with a caveat. My dilemma here is whether we should trade Duvernay. Because this should be Wallace, by the way. So not Williams. It's Wallace III, the kid from Mississippi. I love this kid. He is smooth, and he's a returner. He had 2 returns for 50 yards in the game. He looked great in that role. You also have other guys who can do it. But I think Virgil and Brooks are going to lock this down. I don't see them putting either one of them on waivers.
Yeah.
And so it creates a problem for Duvernay in my mind, because you almost might want to treat him separate as just a special team player, because I don't think he's going to play a lick in the regular offense. So there's a logjam here with the talent. And I always approach this as who might get sneaked off waivers? Well, Brooks and Wallace, to me, I mean, people all saw the Hall of Fame game. If either one gets exposed, I think some team's going to pluck either one of them. So, yeah.
I think Wallace would be able to clear waivers more than Virgil and Brooks for sure. So I think Virgil and Brooks are locks. But
agreed.
People say Duvernay's a very good special teams player.
Yes, he is. Right. But here's my I always think of this: 1 year of Duvernay versus 4 years of Wallace.
Yeah.
And Wallace was a really key receiver in the SEC. I mean, return man. He's got that history. I sort of knew coming in we're going to love this kid. Boy, the catches he made at the 2 in this game, I think, what did he average per catch? Like, I don't know, 20-something yards. He just stuck these catches and had racks. He's a rack guy, run after catch.
And
And
then
then
he had two for 34 in the Hall of Fame game.
Okay, so 17 and 17. Yeah, and I mean, Virgil had what? Brooks had 99 yards. Virgil had 60 something.
Mm-hmm.
These kids balled.
Yeah.
So here's the offensive line that I think they keep. Johnson, of course, Samalo, Froholt. I think Basantis will end up starting. Wilkinson, Jaden Williams, I think can overtake Wilkinson, possibly. Connor played so solid in there, and he's a draft pick. Gaines, Adams, and Fryer. I think of the ones there you could possibly get through waivers, Connor and Fryer are the two. But I think they'd like to keep 10 on the roster if they can help it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. And those are the names that I came up with, and I mentioned a few of the kids that need to develop who we haven't seen enough of, but I just don't think this offensive line as assembled is going to get the job done when you look at who they're going to be facing in the NFC West and across the league.
Right.
The left side I have zero problems with. I certainly don't have a problem with our center. But that right side, when you're talking about starting a rookie next to a third tier journeyman right tackle, I'm sorry, I'm a broken record. That's not how you want to start the season when you got Myles Garrett, Verse, et cetera, coming at you for 17 games.
Yep.
You don't have the depth and you don't have the talent.
Yeah.
Could they make a trade? That's always a possibility. And I think, too, a wild card here is DeCambra. He has played so well at center.
Yes.
Because Gaines is in his 4th year, and I think they'd like to keep him long term. But DeCambra you could have for 4 years. There's a possibility they could stick with DeCambra and put Fryer or Connor on waivers, and I don't think either one of them's going to get claimed. And then have them available for game days when they need them, or bring them up when they need them. So I think could be some musical chairs going on there with DeCambra, a factor. We'll have to see how he plays in Vegas and each week to keep an eye on him. But he's been a young star in camp so far. So, but yeah, I think there's a possibility we could see someone not on. We don't have a name on this list yet who might be a trade candidate that the Cardinals could hone in on at right tackle. I was hoping Matt Pryor would be could be an answer there. Yet last year at tackle, he graded great when he played for the Eagles. He was like, I think he had like a 68, 69 PFF or 71 PFF grade and like 68, 69 pass blocking. So that encouraged me when we got him. And we got him for nothing. I mean, veteran minimum practically. But I'd stash him away on the practice squad and have him when we need him if he doesn't make the roster already. But let's go to the defense. So
It's kind of cut off at the bottom of the page, but just know that the
It is?
safeties are
Oh, yeah.
Baker, Taylor Demerson, Crawford, and Wingard.
I think that's a lock. I don't think anyone crashes that safety
Yeah,
group.
those seem pretty locks. Although I hope the Rabbits, the opening day starter. I know he only played like
Yeah.
9 snaps or something like that, so it's not like he was relegated to the second teamers. But
Right.
I hope he ends up getting a start.
Right. The cornerback room. See, by the way, Jones got first team reps for the first time yesterday. Hallelujah. And I have a email out to PFF about his Hall of Fame PFF grade. I mean, he was head and shoulders the best in coverage, gave up 3 catches and 7 targets for 42%. Only gave up, I think it was less than 20 yards, 17 yards in 3 catches. It was 5.5. Yep, 17 yards. And his QBR was, or RTG, quarterback rating was 50. Remember last year he had like 48 against Matthew Stafford. That's like elite. If you could hold a quarterback against you down that low, that's amazing. But somehow they have his grade as like a 42, which made no sense to me at all. Plus, the only thing he did wrong was miss 1 tackle. He made 3 tackles. He had that big stop on a 3rd down when they passed on the flat, and he came up and nailed the guy. I don't know if you remember this in the second half. It was maybe the best tackle of the night. He missed 1 tackle, so he gets a 42.3. I think PFF, who usually does a really good job, really whiffed on this one, so I alerted them, and I got an email saying they'd let me know in a day or two. But that was 2 days ago. I haven't heard from him yet, so hopefully I will hear from him. But regardless, I watched Elijah Jones the whole game. In my opinion, he is the best cover corner, and he is the best tackler on a group that is one of the most pathetic tackling groups I have ever seen in the NFL. All of them are like, what I would want to do is all the rest of these guys, including Jones, should play a lot in the preseason. We got to figure out who has the want to tackle first.
That's right.
Here's the thing. You're asking guys to play zone corner? Zone corners have to be dogs. The whole point of letting balls in underneath is to punish. And like Buddha does, where people get footsteps and drop balls like Deebo Samuels used to do against us because he was worried about Buddha. I mean, you have to be dogs, and these guys are the opposite. I mean, some of the tackling efforts that Burke put on tape last year was just like, you can't play for me. Not like that. If that's your want to tackle, you can't play. I don't care. And it's not like you're an elite corner in coverage, because he's not. He was the best, but it was just above average at best. And, Clark, I love the kid as a baller. He's got to bounce back after last week, in my opinion. Newsom, I thought, played well out of the slot. We are desperate for a slot corner. We're desperate. Sean Murphy-Bunting, who's not playing in these games, is not getting exposed like he will in the regular season. Here's another guy, one of the most pathetic tacklers I have ever seen in Cardinal Red. Had a 29.4 2 years ago, tackling. In fact, I can't get the memory of Chuba Hubbard with our playoff hopes on the line, tanking over the feeble arm tackle of Sean Murphy-Bunting, and then going 20 more yards for a game-winning touchdown. I mean, and Bunting had a perfect angle on him. It's just mind-boggling to me. You're playing zones, and your guys can't tackle. I mean, Will Johnson is so hot and cold to me. I don't know which player. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. And I'm seeing practices, and I'm seeing him getting beat routinely. He lacks recovery speed. I'm sorry. And people call him a lockdown corner. It's just ridiculous. He can't cover people man to man. He doesn't do it well. He is a zone corner. Preferably you play him up in the zone. Garrett Williams, same thing. He's a zone corner. And man, he's lost. And last year, he had a 134 RTG quarterback rating. He gave up 6 touchdowns. You got to do something about these guys and then tackling last year, he was in the 20s or 30s. He was terrible. I hate to say it, but, we've been saying all these high praise, giving high praise to these guys, and they haven't earned it. Burke, I think he's a bubble guy for me. I want to see him in preseason change the narrative. Clark, I know, will ball. Jones, I know, will ball. Melton, I'm not sure whether he has the want to tackle, but I love his feet. He, too, has to prove. These are all prove-it players to me, except for I think Jones is clearly the best. And Clark, I know what I'm getting out of him, but Clark, too, lacks recovery speed. So the 2 best man corners I listed first, and maybe Newsom's 3. And I didn't count Starling Thomas. We have to see him first. I think he's got potential to make this. But what do you guys think? How would you round out this cornerback room? What are you looking at?
Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, Newsom's a tough one because Newsom is probably good enough to make it, but would also probably clear waivers. So if you're playing the game of the 53 man, I think Newsom you can waive and bring back on the practice squad and activate on game days.
Right.
I feel the same way with Keitrell Clark. I remember sitting here this exact same time last year and saying the same thing. I think Keitrell Clark will clear waivers if you let Keitrell Clark be open on the 53.
Yep.
So if you open those spots, you could potentially keep Thomas. It opens up some of those moves I said earlier when we were talking about keeping another quarterback. You could even keep Wallace if you only keep 5 corners.
Right.
The other one that you don't have here that I thought is interesting is Carson Sherrar, the 6th round pick, who's going to be primarily a special teams guy. Maybe they possibly keep him, but other than that, I think if you're playing the game, I think you could probably let Newsom be open to waiver claim and let Clark be open to waiver claim, and then bring back either Sherrar or a 3rd quarterback or Wallace or maybe even Starling Thomas, like you said. But I understand your point with keeping 7. They really need the cornerback help, but that also means teams might not pick up their cornerbacks if they put them on the not initial 53 man.
Right. There's only 3 with Newsom. There's only 3 players here I feel comfortable playing man-to-man with. And we cannot go another season being chicken shit of playing man-to-man. I mean, that's why the Rams spent all that capital to get Trent McDuffie in there, because they got torched in their zones against the Seahawks down the stretch and lost the NFC Championship game because of it. They know and understand. You can't just sit back in zones in this league and expect to win. So as good as the pass rushes they had too, you're just it's just good quarterbacks are going to tear zones apart.
Yeah, at that point, keep Newsom if you want to do 6. I think Clark is probably the one for sure you could leave open, and it would hurt to have him go, but I suspect he would make it to the practice squad.
Right. I would take Clark over Burke. That guy turned me off big time last year, although he did have the 3 interceptions, so you got to give him that. But that's why I want to see in preseason. These guys being bubble wrapped is just laughable to me and such a disgrace, because after what they put on tape last year, we got to find out, because we don't want to find out in week 1. Oh boy, here we go again. I mean, we got to find out if they're coming to ball this year or not. And the only way to find out is we got 3 more games and put them in there and see what they look like. Then if they earn it, it's just he's got the name going for him and nothing else at this point. Other than he did have 3 interceptions. He was 50-50 in coverage, but our best one, other than Jones when he finally played. So with Sherrar, I think he does make it now that Keys is injured. And I also think that, and I don't know how long Keys will be out, but I also think that with Blunt being sidelined for the year, maybe Sherrar takes that special teams role, which is, I think, what they drafted him for in the first place. The only thing that sort of made me curious about Sherrar was that I then looked how he played special teams at Iowa last year. He only had like 15 snaps on special teams. I was like, what? But he was their starting inside linebacker. I think they'd like to keep him on the roster, but I don't see anyone claiming Sherrar. He's not yet a position player on an NFL defense. But he could, he could be like a Luke Kuechly and get stronger every year and warm up to the position. That's what he needs right now. He had that 1 year of starting in Iowa, and he can build off of that. But so you make a good point about that. What about BJ Ojulari making the team? I had
What a shame.
Go ahead, Sam.
I don't think he's going to make the team. It's another high pick. I mean, I think that's the most noticeable thing on this depth chart is that BJ Ojulari is not on it. It's disappointing. And
he wouldn't be activated on game days. You're not.
Well, he's a good candidate for the practice squad, but he should be playing. He's a high draft pick. That's another miss on Monty's part. If I look at this depth chart and I look at all the names, the name I have the biggest concern and question mark about is not on there, and that's the coach.
Yes,
that's the coach.
Yep.
The Ojulari thing is all dependent on what they do with Sweat or Collins. If they're that could be even a trade deadline situation. It's all dependent on whether Sweat's going to stick around, whether they sell on Collins because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. That's all dependent on what Ojulari is going to do. And even if he doesn't make the initial roster, if they do at the trade deadline move on from one of those guys, then that opens up opportunity. But it's all right now. He's the 5th guy, and it's all dependent on what they do with Sweat and Collins.
Right. Yeah. Walter Nolan yesterday, arm injury, coming out of, was running into the locker room, holding his left arm straight down. God, that really concerns because this is looking more and more like a pretty weak defensive interior. Lopez made a great play in the red-white yesterday. Had a highlight stuff of Jeremiah Love. Collier is looking pretty decent in the camp, but even there, you'd like someone stronger. Carter has ability, but we don't know the nature of his injuries. And beyond that, we really have a collection of players that really aren't NFL ready.
Right.
So we got to keep an eye on this defensive interior.
I was going to say, I don't see Robinson on there anywhere. Darius.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank you.
Or Stills. I don't see Stills either.
Darius is playing great. Oh, thank God. I knew I was missing somebody.
And there's Dante Stills.
Yeah, I was going to say, so Darius probably just replaced Collier, if I had to guess. And Collier will make it.
Oh, thank God. I was looking at the wrong depth chart. Because take out Collier and Carter and put in Robinson and Stills. Oh, I feel so much better already.
Yeah, I was going
to. Thank you for pointing that out. That's why I need you guys, when I make a mistake like this. Yeah, it's a big year for Stills and for Robinson. And so far, Robinson's been lighting it up in practice. So that's really good news, and it makes me feel so much better. Problem solved there. Then we go to the special teamers. Lock. Between Gillikin, he had one punt for 55 yards that went out on the third pinned them deep, the Panthers deep on the 3rd-yard line. That was awesome. And he's a great holder for Ryland. They have chemistry together. Ryland was 3 for 3 for field goals, 3 for 3 for extra points. He had a perfect night. Kreider looks great as this year's Aaron Brewer. So we're good there. Trade candidates. I think it's possible for Minshew, for somebody desperate. Benson, Connor, Udo, Pryor, Jacobs. The Commanders losing, unfortunately, Laramie Tunsil. They're going to be tackle needy teams and these 3 guys have NFL starting experience. They might be able to get something for them. If not, I think they can stash them away on the practice squad. So anyone else you can think of? Oh, and I think, Duvernay. If you're really high on one of these young kids and don't want to lose them and you think the roster spot, ideally we keep Duvernay, and I think it's going to happen that way. But we got to do some finagling so that we don't lose one of these really good wide receivers to waivers if you're going to, and there are ways to get around that. Anyone else?
Well, if you're just spitballing, you could trade Algier for some real capital. He's literally frozen until September, but he would bring some value.
Kyle, can you look up what we gave him in in signing bonus?
Oh, it's big bucks. It's big bucks, but again, they could probably get a day, maybe a day 2, but certainly a day 3 pick. I'm just throwing out names. I don't think they're going to get traded, but if you want trades that won't kill the cap and bring back some value, you also have Kendrick Bourne there. They're certainly not going to trade him, and he's frozen till week 1, but he'd bring a strong pick. And then we got a lot of cornerbacks in that room, and we got, if Garrett Williams is healthy, you slide Murphy Bunning in there in the nickel.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a player. You can get a decent player in return for Williams. The same with Max Melton. You could definitely get a late day 3 pick from him for him. And frankly, Max may need a scenery change. So
I don't think he has any trade value now.
If his knee's not healthy, he certainly doesn't. Yeah. And again, I'm just spitballing. I'm just looking across the roster to see who might get
some
traded.
Of these trades are also like you flip a 6th for a 7th or something like that. It, like if Duvernay were to get traded, it'd be like they'd get some team's 6th and we would send them their 7th or something like that.
That's right. We wouldn't get a lot of chips for really most of them, but just looking at names, since we're looking at trade candidates, we went through it, and these are the guys who might be tradable for something worthwhile. The player on the team who would fetch the most is Mike Wilson, and he's not going anywhere.
Right. And here's what you lose if you trade. It's the signing bonus, $5.5 million. That you can't get back. And it's virtually half his salary, the $12 million. So, but, if you get something in return, like a right tackle, who, is affordable, then, and we got all this cap space. So, I think it's a really fascinating idea. And I think it's viable as long as you know that you just paid him 5.5 and that's not coming back. So
there are very few teams who are going to trade a good right tackle. Very, very few. There's not a surplus of right tackles across the league.
Yeah.
That's why we have Elijah Wilkinson starting for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and signing Jonah Williams and all stuff like that. I mean, I guess I should say the three that are always just hanging over anytime this conversation happens is, what are they going to do with Buddha? What are they going to do with Josh Sweat? What are they going to do with Zaven Collins? Like those are great players, but they also command the most value potentially on the market. So it's always, what are they going to do with their star players? And if they do trade one of them, do they bring in another player at a position of need? Do they go draft picks? That changes the equation, but I don't think any of those three are going to get traded this late in the game. Those are more like trade deadline probably at this point.
Yeah.
The only other one, it's not a trade candidate, but it's just hanging over the whole situation, is Isaiah Adams and what they're going to do with that situation.
Right.
Because I love Gaines kind of just moving positionally. He could do left guard, he could do center, he could do right guard. He's awesome. I love it when they put him at fullback. Just have him stand back there and bulldoze the way into the end zone. So I love Gaines, and if Basantis is going to be your starting right guard, which we don't know if he is or isn't, but if Basantis is your right guard of the future, then I don't know what you do with Adams. Then you have the arrest on gun charges and everything else like that.
Right.
So it wouldn't be a trade situation, but it could be a release or he gets put on the I forget, is it administrative list? I can't remember, the paid leave list in the NFL. I can't remember what it's called now, but that's the one that I guess just kind of hangs over the situation because you don't know if you're using a roster spot on him or not, whether you need him, whether you don't need him. It's kind of just the situation hanging over it all.
Right. So can we go, let's finish this up. We have 10 minutes left. Can we finish it up with some highlight plays? I want to go right to the Beck stuff. I queued those up in an article if anyone was reading about my coverage after the game. It was chock full of links to celebrate these plays. Let's do this via the Jalen Brooks receptions, because those were absolutely remarkable. And even though this is a vanilla defense, that's not prepared and doesn't for a real game, these are big time throws at any level. The way that Beck threw them, and with the right amount of touch and arc. Let's cue up Brooks on both of his big plays, because boy, those were dandies. Oh man, this is a great hole shot here. Called a hole shot in between zones. Notice how he freezes at the top of the screen, right there to draw the underneath cover man in, and then he's going to go right past him into the hole where Beck delivers a dime in the hole shot. Beautiful. See, that's a big time throw at any level. He feathers it right in there. He doesn't overcook it. He lays it in there. Beautiful. In between the three defenders. That is textbook. Let's show the next one.
That was his best throw of the night, I think.
Well, and this one is...
this one, yeah.
Yeah, this one is a dandy, too.
Sure is.
Now, notice he leads him. And good for Brooks to take that pop and hold on. And he knew it was coming. Hell of a play by the Panthers safety, who came from the opposite side of the field, opposite hash mark, all the way over to make this pop. Look at him go. That's a great play. I'd keep an eye on that kid if he comes on waivers. We need a guy like that back there.
Yeah, but we don't need the guy he beat, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, and they bid up on those coverages on numerous occasions. But, here's an stated key to those plays is how Beck gets the cornerbacks to freeze too, because he's looking in the direction and he's doing the little, like pulling the trigger motion, and he helped sell those routes and did it perfectly. All right, so
I also like how Bam Knight picked up that blitzer.
oh my God, go back. Thank you so much for mentioning that. You guys are like, totally clutch today, as always, but totally clutch today. I forgot to mention that because it's so huge. Go back here. This is why Bam Knight's making this football team.
Yes.
If he doesn't make this block, this play never happens.
Yep.
Watch him take the romance out of the blitz. Boom. Even gets him down on the turf.
Yeah.
But boom.
Beck looks really smooth and polished there.
Oh,
processing wise.
Also, unintentionally, 94 gets taken out by the block there too. So 94, that little stutter step is what gives Beck enough time to get to the throw off.
Right. Let's cue up a Reggie Virgil catch. Our 5th round pick.
All right, let's see. Here we go. Now we got one. How about this one? Here we go.
You don't care.
The second time you were here, you played and you won your.
All right. That was on a nice. That's another big time pro throw. Is to the far sideline on a rope. Credit Beck. This one, yep. That's a beauty. Is that the only one I had?
I think there's a second one. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, here we go. This is the one at the end of the game.
I'm calling him extra Virgil olive oil. It's smooth. He is smooth. Whoop! Wow. And some of those throws from Beck were like, that was from Slovis. This was a really good play by Slovis. That's throwing on a dart and low where only Virgil can get it. Let's see Harrison Wallace III.
Let's see him. We got one right here.
Oh, this one was just smooth as water. Woo! Oh, man. Talk about sticking it on a receiver across the middle. This
Watch
is
him
throw.
right here.
Oh, my goodness.
Can't really see it, but cuts across the middle.
Yep.
Beats his defender.
Slovis played well.
He played really well. All the quarterbacks played well.
Yeah. And let's not forget who coached him.
Yep. That's right.
Kurt Warner.
That's right. Well, that's why he's on the team.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then let's get the punched out fumble, the one defensive highlight.
Let's see.
With Newsome. Textbook. Newsome's played in the NFL. He's been around a little bit. And man, if he could be our slot, oh God, that would be a boon. Although I think the Rabbit is made to order for our slot.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll start using him there. Because we're going to need someone against Puka, McCaffrey, and JSN.
And we should mention in the red-white game yesterday,
Yeah.
Elijah Jones got a lot of snaps.
Yeah, he got first team reps. So.
Yes.
And first 2 balls in his direction incompletions. That was the report. Look at that, Newsom. Perfect. Now look at Keys get in on that to stand him up. That's a key to the play is Keys keeping him up enough, to be strippable. Even Keys gets a hand on the ball. Keys while being blocked. That's why he and Billings were my defensive MVPs. And with an honorable mention to Newsom, who made the turnover play of the game.
Newsom looked like Peanut Tillman there.
Yeah. Exactly, the peanut. Oh, way to call that. Gerard almost making a play on the ankles, but that was good. All right. Now, we're going to end the show with an homage to Larry Fitzgerald. And I'll save mine for last. Let's express our feelings about Larry, and then we're going to come back next Monday and talk about Vegas and the potential matchup of Carson Beck versus Fernando Mendoza. Wow. I mean, the rematch of the NCAA championship game. How cool is that? So that's going to be interesting. Assuming that they're going to start Carson again, which I think they probably will, but maybe not because LaFleur hasn't announced it yet. But Kyle, your feelings about Larry Fitzgerald?
The first thing that I always think about with these new Hall of Fame ceremonies is like, it's so fascinating to see the players that I grew up watching go into the Hall of Fame instead of like players from the generation before me. Because I saw pretty much all of Larry Fitzgerald's career, and he's one of those first Hall of Famers that I got to see basically his career from start to finish because I'm just 25 years old. And truly, I might be the best wide receiver I've ever seen play. There's other people. You could go Calvin Johnson's or Justin Jefferson's and Devontae Adams and players like that. But from just a receiver standpoint, the best receiver I've ever seen. But we know that for Arizona specifically, Larry Fitzgerald means so much more because of the person that he was, the pillar in the community, the most important player in the history of the Arizona Cardinals. And so it was really cool to see all the old Cardinals come back and celebrate, at least for, the Arizona era. You can go back to the eras that Walter and Sam, you guys grew up watching in the 60s. But for their sake, the golden era of Arizona Cardinals football, to see all of those former players and all of those former coaches like Wisenhunt show up and kind of reminisce. It's good for that, because even though the Cardinals didn't win that Super Bowl, and even though they never won one with Larry, it's important to celebrate the history that you do have, right? Even if you're not a organization that wins all the time, it's important to celebrate what positive history you do have. And so it was really cool to see all of the former Cardinals that you don't really think about all the time from 20 years ago coming back to celebrate Larry. Because Larry is the embodiment of that era, that quote unquote golden era of Arizona Cardinals football. First with Wisenhunt, and then with Bruce Arians and Carson Palmer.
Yep.
Obviously the year that Larry won them a playoff game against the Green Bay Packers, basically single-handedly, is the moment I always think of just being wowed by what a receiver can do.
Yep.
He's the embodiment of that golden era. And so it's really cool to have all of those Cardinals come back. And it's a reminder that they should probably do something to honor Larry at a Cardinals game, because I'm sure a lot of fans would love to have that moment to kind of celebrate what was the glory era of Cardinals football. So that part was really cool.
Yep. Sam?
Well said. I couldn't have said it better. 17 seasons of consistency and class. And the one thing I really loved is he paid homage to Chris Carter.
Yeah.
Here's a Minnesota boy who was embraced by a player I've always admired and loved, Chris Carter. And he, typical Larry, did the right thing at the right time and really gave Chris Carter his due in developing and inspiring Larry to be the kind of pro he is.
And did you see him, Moss? Randy
Yes.
Moss?
Yes.
That was awesome.
And
what did I learn from Randy Moss? Nothing. Because I never had any iota of the talent he had.
And the kicker of his whole career is, and you'll never hear him bitch about it, because he is the modicum of class, is Jerry Rice is number one. Yep. Look who his quarterbacks were. Number two is Larry Fitzgerald. Look at who his quarterbacks weren't.
That's right.
So
great.
Well, it's one of my favorite stats ever, and I bring it up any chance that I can get when they talk about Larry Fitzgerald, is that Larry Fitzgerald, I believe, had 12 drops his entire career, and he had 15 tackles in his career. Right. Exactly. He made more tackles off of interceptions than he had drops in his career. It's the most insane stat ever.
We can bring him back now. He'd lead the team in tackling with Buddha. So he would. So Kyle, can you bring up the photo I had of Larry with at the Hall of Fame? And the tweet that I had is as simple as this. And I'll put it concisely and we'll just wrap this up. Was it the Hall of Fame made it a priority to highlight Larry Fitzgerald's exemplary humanity. If any person on this planet possesses the sincere ability to discover and celebrate the best in people, Fitz is that guy. Dude is as loyal and loving as they come. He is Father Thanksgiving. That's my tribute. When I think of Larry, I think of Thanksgiving. And I remember all those years, he was out there in the, delivering turkeys to people of need, giving everything of his time. Can you square that down a little bit? Or no, but I mean up on the photo. Oh, that's it. Perfect. Look at him. I mean, oh my God, what epitome of class and grace. Man, the dude can talk too. He's a masterful orator. He could do a lecture series. He could do a TED Talk, and it'd be pins and needles. Have everyone on pins and needles, because this guy speaks from the heart. He's eloquent. He's elegant. But man, in his later years, he pounded the rock. And even took pride as an inline blocker. The dude was just give it all for his teammates. He's the ultimate team player. When he gave the game ball to every quarterback who got their first touchdown with him. He gave it to them. He celebrated them. So we have been so blessed by Larry. Hail Larry. Like Sam said, that game was just unbelievable. And of course, the Super Bowl run was the greatest run of our lives as Cardinal fans. There's no doubt about it. So it was a wonderful weekend, and it just felt so special to be there watching it. For all the Cardinal fans who were there, I remember, and our super fan Suze, I had great few exchanges with her from being out there, and she even met Doug Flutie and has a photo with him online now. And I said, oh my God, my iconic BC quarterback with the iconic Cardinals fan, super fan. What a dream come true for me. And I said it was a double Hail Mary that Suze caught the second one, and that Gerard Phelan actually played for the Cardinals, the one who caught the real one against the U. So Briefly, Gerard Phelan did. So, but it was an exciting weekend. I'm so happy to see the Cardinals offense play well. Disappointed in the Cardinals defense, continue to be feeling hugely concerned about that. I wish someone could take charge of this and get it fixed. Because if the defense stays this way, this is how they're coached and they're leaving guys wide open, we're not going to win games. It's just almost impossible. You'd have to score in the 40s to win them. And maybe this offense can do that occasionally, but to ask them to do that every week with their schedule, it's going to be really impossible. But we got a new game on Thursday night to cue things up. Hopefully we'll see more players involved, and we'll keep updating our 53 every week. And now we're on Mondays for the rest of the season from here on in. And so join us, please, on the Red Rain. And in the interim, may the Red Rain shower down on you like Super Bowl confetti when Fitz is running into the end zone. Red Rain.